what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Savage Performance YouTube channel. So today I thought I'd do a little kind of like a ride along. What is my day like in the shop? It's going to be probably a whole lot of diagnosing cars. Had a bunch of drop-offs over the weekend. Currently I'm running quite a bit behind on just pretty much everything. So also really need to get some cleanup done in the shop. Pretty much just been getting stuff in, trying to get them out, and have not been keeping up my cleanup the way I should. Got the RS6 chilling there. I've got a random set of coilovers laying there, syringe there from a oil change, whole bunch of parts. These really need to get gone through. Got my B5 sitting up there. There's a little sneak peek of what's happening there. This truck here is waiting on a transmission. This A4 here, got to do a partial rebuild on that transmission. And first thing of today is this Golf R. So this one here, I had put an engine in, I'm gonna say 2 years ago, I believe, and it's been back off and on for little issues here and there, and today it's back for an EPC light, and it's not wanting to rev up. So we're gonna diagnose that. This car here has the APR, I have to go back and check, but I think it's their biggest bolt-on turbo kit they offer. It's the Garrett, I don't know, I better not say, I forget what it is. But anyway, it's got pretty much full bolt on. It's actually a pretty quick car. So I'd done the turbo kit on it. Well, actually I moved the turbo kit, blew the engine with an APR car. So moved the turbo kit to a basically brand new engine, swapped all that in and retuned it. Really fun car, one I've never owned yet. But in the right circumstances, I think I could own a Golf R. Not a fan of the sound. Obviously I'm a bigger V8, V6 at a minimum type of guy, but these are fun. For now, let's grab the computer, get up and see what kind of issues we find with this car. All right, so in the car, we've got VCDS up and running. Let's turn this ignition on and see what kind of codes we can pull here. That is an interesting code. So we have internal control module, checksum error. So first thing I'm just going to start with is we're going to see if the code clears or if it comes back right away. Go back out. No fault codes found. See if she starts. Obviously didn't fix the issue. You can see it does not rev. So let's go. So there, sounds like we lost a couple cylinders. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's go in here. It is not recognizing any misfires, but we definitely are only running on like 2 cylinders. Actually kind of sounds like the injectors went down more than the spark. You can actually see if you watch the vacuum gauge there. When it does that, we pretty much lose vacuum. Alright, so as you saw, we did not log any misfires. So that led me to think maybe we have an injector issue. And if we look here, so here is our lambda control. Specified obviously is right around 1 or 0.95 in this case. We are currently sitting at 199, which is completely maxed out. It could be way leaner than that, but that is as lean as this O2 sensor will read. You give it a little throttle, we can see it starts to kind of correct itself. As soon as I let it idle, there for a minute, it actually goes right and then it drops out. So we definitely have something fueling related, potentially a wiring harness issue going to some of the injectors. So for now I'm going to head out front and just kind of look over stuff. This car had a new harness installed by the dealer, I want to say early this spring. A rodent had got in and the dealer supposedly put a new harness on. So potentially they didn't plug something in right and it's starting to come apart. That's going to be my first thing. It also After that, it had bad injectors. We had put injectors in right over that time as well. So pretty sure it's not going to be an injector. They have new OEM injectors in here right now. I'm going to say it probably has a wiring issue somewhere. So we're going to try to chase that down and go from there. All right, on to the next car. So here we have a pretty nice looking little 328i. Actually, I guess it'll be the XI. It's all-wheel drive. This is an E92. And the customer complaints of clunking up front. Like heavy thud clunk while driving, which took it on a quick test drive and definitely has. Didn't have to get basically off the lot before I heard it. So I suspect something in the front end, possibly bad axle. But let's get under this car and see what we find. Sounds like it's coming from this front corner here. Sounds like an axle issue, pretty heavy thumping. So let's get in under here. So first thing, oh yeah, we've already got a tore boot. Oh, actually that axle is sagging down, got grease everywhere. And it actually looks like that axle is out of the diff. So we're gonna get some shields out of here to really get a good look in there. But at minimum, it looks like we're gonna have for sure an axle, maybe a diff. I don't know why the axle popped out of the diff, and I'm assuming if that was banging around, it probably will have messed up the diff. But we're gonna get some shields off, get up in there a little deeper, and see what we actually got going. Maybe we'll get lucky and it's just an axle, but I kind of suspect we'll be looking at a diff as well. All right, so we kind of got the shield and stuff off and got up in there enough to take a look at it. And unfortunately, it is gonna need a diff. The axle failed. They obviously kept driving until the cup itself came loose from the diff and was banging around in the diff, chewed up the bearing, chewed out the spline, so the cup will no longer snap into the diff. So that is unfortunate. These are not the most fun to do with the way the diff is basically integrated into the oil pan of the engine. See, this car is an absolute mess underneath. But the diff actually passes right, or the shaft, we're going to be able to split it right there and pop that off. So basically subframe down, and then we'll be able to get the diff off. You can see axle comes out there. It's just complete disaster. You got oil and grease everywhere because once the axle came out, all the oil would come out of the diff. So this is not necessarily going to be a cheap 1 hour fix. So now gotta head to the office, get some parts coming, get some approvals on the repairs, and then on to the next car. All right, I'm sure the audio is terrible out here, but next order of business today is I got a shipment of core transmissions here. So I do also build transmissions as well, mostly for the diesel trucks that we do, all performance oriented stuff. So here we have two of them. Got a 2-wheel drive unit and a 4-wheel drive unit. These are both 47REs. I just bought them as cores because the last one I got in had a cracked case. So this way I'll have some spares to throw on the shelf for when the need arises. I'm gonna get these sorted out, put away, and on to the next thing. All right, so on to the next thing. So my skid steer didn't want to start because the battery terminal has been slowly corroding, and we've had a little bit of rainy weather, damp weather, and of course, didn't want to hold charge, didn't want to start, so I had to jump start it when that delivery of transmissions came in. So, gotta quickly fix that. What we got here, you can see this connection is just terrible. The strap's all rusty, the ends of the cables are corroded, and the battery's pretty much shot to begin with. But we're gonna try to doctor it up and worry about a new battery on a later date. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do next, and then we can get back to business. All right, so we have got the terminal redone. I'm gonna see if the battery is dead or if the connection was just bad. I'm gonna hit the key and see what happens. up. So the battery was actually good and charged. It just simply wasn't making a connection and therefore wasn't starting. So we are ready to go on to the next project. All right, next car for the day. We are getting this Passat in. I want to say this is a 2014. The customer complaints were coolant leak, issue with the AdBlue. This is a TDI, so it's got all the emission stuff on. So I think it was doing error for either AdBlue or maybe one of the sensors. So we gotta look into that, as well as an oil leak from possibly the valve cover area. So we're gonna get this car in here. I'm assuming it is probably needing a water pump, which we will do a complete timing service if that is the case. Valve cover gasket, and then we will have to look into the exhaust system and see what we need to do there. So just gonna get this one in, kind of do a visual on it, and then if I think it's water pump, I'll just go ahead and get the parts coming for that. I already recommended that to the customer, as this car has 151,000 miles on it. Let's see here, with no record of timing belt being done, so it really needs it either way. And I'm assuming he got lucky and has a water pump leak, and it hasn't failed yet. So get under the hood of this thing and see what we find. Well, first thing, I kind of think I smell power steering fluid. All right, so water pump leak, we would be seeing moisture down in that area, which probably won't be able to get it on camera for you, but yes, it is all wet down in there, kind of around the crank pulley area, down in there. So, since I can't show you, we would just have to wait till we actually do the service, and then you'll get to see it. So we do have oil sitting around the injectors here. The valve cover to injector seals are apparently gone out. And we got oil along the valve cover gasket running down on the head. So yes, we will need a valve cover gasket. I may go ahead and throw my pressure tester on there just to confirm, but pretty sure that is what we're looking at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and scan the car, just to see what the codes are, and that'll most likely wrap this one up for the time being. I will get parts coming, since I don't have a timing belt kit in stock for this right now, but we already kind of had this car scheduled in about a week. Just wanted to get it in, kind of get an overview, make sure that we knew what we had, make sure there was no unexpected stuff. That way when this car comes in, what I'd like to do is have everything here where the car can come in, all the issues fixed, and back out, so we don't end up running into, oh, we got a valve cover out, or doing the valve cover, oh, we got a water pump leaking. If we get it in, kind of get an evaluation, we can get all the parts, get it taken care of in one shot. So that's gonna wrap up this car. This was a pretty quick one. I already kind of thought I knew what was wrong with it. Just wanted to confirm it, so we're gonna get those parts coming. Then we got one more project for today that I'm going to try to tackle, and that is the transmission in this B5A4. So trans got dropped. We had leaking from the bell housing area, which I kind of diagnosed before we took it apart as a torque converter seal, which was correct, except not the normal torque converter leak. It actually must have gotten hot. And this is the bushing that is supposed to be pressed into the pump. So that little bushing should be sitting right in here. But I'm assuming the torque converter got hot. You can actually see it's a little blue around the edge. It got hot, it swelled up until it actually basically welded the bushing to itself. Started spinning that in the pump. We can see the seal right down in there. That is what we originally thought was bad, which obviously it is now, but we got bigger issues. So I gotta pull that pump. I think I have a good one. And one of my parts transmissions, get that all swapped around. This is a bit of a budget fix. Obviously this is kind of like a work car. Doesn't really make sense to put a new transmission in. So customer wants us just to try it. Because I don't even know for sure if this transmission, how hot it got, if the clutches are burnt. He doesn't want us to get into it that far. So we're just gonna throw a pump in it, new torque converter, throw it back in and hope for the best. Pretty much if that doesn't work, it'll probably be heading off to the scrap pile. But hopefully it'll work and we can get this car back up and running. It'll be a great winter car with winter coming up. Probably take you along a little bit for that repair. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up today's video. It's a quick lot overview right now. So we have M5 there is in 4 rod bearings, and I think we did an e-brake assembly on it. The B7, nice, it's actually got a DTM front bumper on it, but nice B7 S4, timing chains, and a few other little stuff. A4 we just did a turbo on, the B7 A4. That is the S6 that a bunch of videos were just made on. That you've been seeing in the last couple videos. That one is pretty much ready to be sent back to the owner. We got a Gold Fire there. That is the one you saw earlier today. That is the other car you saw earlier today. That is an RS7 that we will hopefully have a bunch of content coming on soon. That is pretty much a full build. Just a little quick rundown. That does have TS2 turbos, and it's getting a bunch more upgrades here in a minute. The white truck there, injectors and a transmission. And then that ugly little thing there is basically kind of like a rat rod type of build that we're going to be doing here shortly. That kind of wraps up most of the stuff we got going right now. I do have a little bit of stuff out on the other side of the shop here. Most of my own stuff, like my wagon, my 4.2 swap B5 wagon, the C6 S6 with the V10 and manual swap. Hopefully we'll be getting going on that. I got some stuff coming that'll hopefully make that car run and kick off another project, which is exactly what I need. And I also have another car sitting on the West Coast that I gotta get picked up to start yet another project, along with the S4 here in the background, which got to get put back together as well. So plenty of work to be done. I got to get back on it. And if you enjoyed this type of video, comment below and I can hopefully take you guys along some more if you find it interesting to just see what is going on in the shop, just the boring day-to-day stuff. Really appreciate all the views. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.